While many friends and family spend their Easter vacation at home or searching for must-visit places across Europe, we found ourselves drawn east, back to China. A country that Western media has often portrayed in shades of negativity, cheap quality goods, copyright controversies, political tensions. But lately, this story seems to be shifting. With trade wars heating up and governments locking horns, more people are beginning to look beyond the noise. And so did we. For us, the love affair with China began last year. Not with the headlines, but with the people, the places, the sheer energy of a country that holds 1/5 of the world's population. So this year, without hesitation, we packed our bags for a 2-week journey across China, ready to dive even deeper. We explored 4 major regions and cities, each more unique than the last, the ancient and the futuristic, the peaceful and the chaotic, the familiar and the completely unexpected. And as if the adventure itself wasn't enough, we were invited for an interview to share our experiences.
It's unwatchable.
This is, by the way, Charly, a manager of several YouTube channels.
So how does it feel to be an influencer?
I don't feel like an influencer.
So today, I'm sitting down to reflect on this incredible journey, to tell the real story of what we saw, what we felt, and what we learned.
自从去年 China Travel 成为 YouTube 的热词以后，越来越多的外国网红来到中国，创作内容，体验旅行。So many foreigners, so many influencers from the overseas come to China, and Andy, you are the second time to come to China, and you are the guest today. We are talking about traveling China, bad things and good things. First time come to China, how does it differ from your expectation? Yeah. Okay. What's the differences between before and after? Yeah, your first time in China. Yeah.
Well, the first time, I think we had very low expectations, to be honest, because many people in Germany, where we come from, are rather negatively towards Asia in general, but especially China. So we had low expectations. We were really interested because it's such a huge country. And when we traveled before to Vietnam, to Japan, to Australia, we met many Chinese guests there. And they were always very welcoming and very open, interested in us. So I felt like, well, let's put all the news aside and just trust what we experienced before, for example, in Australia. And then the new regulations towards traveling to China without visa for, I think at first was like visa-free for 14 days came out. So we said, well, why not try it and just go there for a short time. I think at one point we had a transit stop in Chengdu, so we were here for 16 hours, and it was so interesting. We were really impressed. We didn't really see much in those 16 hours apart from the airport in Chengdu, but it was so modern that it already blew us away and made us curious to see more of it. Yeah, that's why we actually came back for the real first time last year to Shanghai, and they said that Shanghai is supposed to be the most Western or modern city of all in China. So we thought, well, maybe that's a good start. And we were really also blown away there because everything was so advanced. Everything was so, the technology was so much ahead, and we really did not expect that there would be so many people, you know, out on the street just enjoying life and going shopping and have the money to go shopping. So yeah, that really impressed us.
So the visa-free policy is also very important.
It is, for sure. Yeah, because before that, I always had this slight interest in China, but when we knew, oh, you have to go to the embassy in Berlin, for example, first to get the visa, and you pay a lot of money, you know, visa fee, and you don't know whether you actually get it, it's a hassle. And I was, for 5 people, for the family, it's a lot of time and money we would have to put in, not knowing whether we can actually get the visa at the end. So when I heard, well, there is a possibility to come here visa-free, I was like, well, there's nothing to lose. Why not? So that was, I think, probably one of the biggest reasons. Yeah.
Okay. Many Chinese people give the thumbs up to the visa-free policy. Yeah, because they think this is a good policy because in the past, all the negative news are made by the traditional media and give the visa free to all the normal people, and they can come here to shoot what they want, to see what is the real things in the country. They think this is a good policy. Yeah.
It is, yeah. And now it's even advanced. I mean, I think for us Germans, we can stay here now for 30 days,
yeah.
Actually. So that's very nice. Last year, when we had the time, it was only 14 days, and we stayed for about 10 days in Shanghai. This year, we don't have that much time because the kids have to go to school again. But we try to make the most out of it, and now have like 14 more days.
14 more days, yes, okay. Yeah. So, Andy, this is your second time to China, and what's the differences between your last time? Where did you find some new things?
New things? Yeah, well. After the first time when we got back home, many people were like, yeah, you went to Shanghai only. Well, Shanghai is more Western. It's not the real China.
Okay.
So we were like, okay, next time we go to the real China. Okay. So we have to go to Beijing. And then we heard about Chongqing.
Chongqing, yeah.
And we heard about the Avatar Mountains, so we also went to Zhangjiajie. And it is different. Yes, it's not Shanghai. It's not the westernized China that much. But to be honest, all the things that the family actually enjoyed in Shanghai is also here. The kids are happy to go to, what's it called? I think Chongqing.
Chongqing, yeah.
To get their ice cream and.
Chongqing.
Yeah.
Wait, Chongqing 就是Andy 一家人已经特别爱上了雪王，就是蜜雪冰城。他们现在已经成了蜜雪冰城的忠实粉丝。Yeah, I want to explain to the audience that Chongqing is a 蜜雪冰城. Yeah.
Or also like Alpai, he can't start his day without a coffee, so he always goes to Luckin Coffee.
Okay, Luckin Coffee. Luckin Coffee. Yeah.
Yeah, and so those small things, the convenience stores, all the things that we experience in Shanghai, you also find in all the other places here.
Yeah.
And yes, I think in Zhangjiajie, for example, it was different. It was not as modern and not as clean, I would say, but it was more rough, more rural maybe even, but also very, very interesting. It reminded us of our stay in Vietnam rather than Shanghai before or Beijing, but also very interesting. We felt, I think the most important thing, and that's not different from Shanghai, but the same, people are extremely welcoming, very open, very friendly, and that's, I think, one of the reasons why we really want to come back to China too.
Yeah, because Shanghai is an advanced city, and also, Shanghai used to be colonized by Westerners.
Yeah.
So the English speaking is welcome, and they admire the things from West. So Shanghai is also is always the first step for the Western tourists. For example, Chongqing we call it a tier 2 city. Shanghai, Beijing, Shenzhen called tier 1. Yeah, they are most advanced. And Chongqing we call it tier 2. Yeah, and 就是 Eddie 在重庆其实发现跟上海的区别也不大，然后觉得跟之前因为他之前去了回到德国之后，很多评论告诉他你去的是上海。And what aspect of China's travel attracted you to come here? Yeah, what's the reason?
What's the reason? Well, it's a huge country.
Yeah.
So of course we know that there are big differences, like the landscape, and I would think that people in the north might be different from the south, or east might be different from the west.
Yeah.
So many different aspects to explore. Then we hear about all kinds of cuisine, for example. We know that here this area is known for very spicy, very hot food. So of course we are also interested about those aspects. And then, the landscape. You know.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
Maybe one more point. Let me add that maybe also the history.
Now the history.
Yeah, because we know in Europe we have a long history, and I when I talk to friends and family and neighbors, for example, I always try to compare. In my view, in my worldview, I feel like, okay, as if Europe would be like the parents. America, that we hear most on the news, is like the teenager these days, trying to rebel, a bit louder and stuff like that. But Asia, especially China, is like the grandparents, very wise, very, they, as if everyone here just has this wisdom. And we feel like maybe we can get some of this wisdom, when we come here.
这个评价非常赞啊！我解释一下，就是 Andy 说，对于他们来讲，欧洲是一个非常有历史的国家，德国也是一个非常有历史的国家啊。然后美国就像一个青少年，像一个非常淘气、非常调皮的青少年，非常的喧闹啊。那对于亚洲来讲，对于中国来讲，就像爷爷和奶奶一样啊，有一种老人的智慧在这里。因为这种历史 ，Yeah, you traveling China 2 times, and what's the badness about China during your travel? What's the worst? Yeah.
I had to talk about this with my family earlier because we tried to focus more on the positive things, but there's one thing that all of us agreed, to be honest, it's the smoking. Yeah, we're not used to people smoking that much, and even if there are signs, like for example, we came here by train, and there are signs that you shouldn't smoke there. And nevertheless, people were smoking, or when you come out of the hotel room, you just smell it everywhere, and that's something that puts us off a little bit. I think it's just culture. I know it was in the past in Europe as well.
No, this is not culture. This is bad.
Okay,
this is badness. This is it should be improvement. Yeah.
Well, that could be something.
At
least for us.
You are so polite.
Well, for us, the smoking is not really nice at all. And the kids know just one more thing. I think it's like mostly older people spitting.
Yeah.
We're not used to that at all. So that's something where we are always like, well, just ignore it. Just ignore it. That's weird for us.
Yeah. 吐痰，就这个东西很难接受啊！只要是那个孩子们看到了 ，Andy 都会给孩子解释，不要看，不要看，因为这个东西，这个我们也很讨厌，对吧？这个东西外国人也看在眼里，记在心里，只是人家外国网红比较委婉，一般不把这种负面新闻发在网上。但是我觉得这个东西是我们需要改进的地。In your opinion, which areas of China's tourism industry need to be improved? Yeah.
Okay. What could be improved? Well, of course, there are still many areas and restaurants that could be improved in terms of like signage. Like for example, in restaurant, the menu.
Okay.
We know we are in China, so of course we have the translator and we can translate, but it is easier when you have the English words beneath it, of course.
And if you use the translator to translate the Chinese name of the cuisine, some results it will be very strange and scary.
Sometimes, that's true. Yeah. Sometimes you get really strange translations, but when I read frog, I already know. Oh well, maybe that's too traditional for me. But I think that's one part. But everyone, I think, expects and knows that. Well, when you come to China, you need a translator unless you speak Mandarin or Cantonese or whatever you need in this region. Another thing that I notice all the time is I knew before I did my research and knew that I can't really use like Google Maps, what I'm used to from home. So I downloaded a map because I heard that's quite suitable here. But I often book my hotels on trip.com and the address there is not always, or the name of the hotel is not always the same as an A-map. So sometimes it's really hard for us for directions. You have to first find, for example, the hotel or the location wherever you booked it, and then look on A-map or Apple Cards or whatever, another map to actually find the location and get the directions as well. I think this could be improved too, if all those apps would be more interconnected or more suitable for international travelers as well, would be easier for us.
I got it. Let me translate. Yeah, the guest we met yesterday is also the same situation. Yeah,
exactly.
he can't find his hotel. Where is hotel? And if he make the call to the lobby, the staff can't speak English. Yeah, it's a real mess. It's a disaster for the travelers. Yeah.
Yeah, for example, with the payment options.
Payments, yeah.
For example, we downloaded Alipay now, and that works very well. But in many areas, you need WeChat, and that doesn't work as easily for us. There are like, especially when we traveled in Beijing, and you need a ticket in advance or make reservations. They always want you to use WeChat.
Okay.
But that's very complicated, and we always need a local to help us with that. So I think that will be another thing that could be easier, because we like asking people because it's a way of getting in contact, but at the same time also fear that we might like disturb someone. We don't want to be a disturbance for anybody.
再提一点，就是那个 APP 的那个问题。虽然无线金车会很好，支付宝也很好用，但是很多地方要求只能用微信支付和微信来预约。然后微信对于外国人来讲的太不友好了，无论是注册还是使用而且还需要找一个中国朋友来担保，这个流程很复杂。What do you think is the most pressing issue Chinese society should address? Yeah.
I think that's a very hard question.
Yeah, it's a hard question.
What's an issue? Well, we see that the society and the technology and everything is advancing these days, and we know from experience what it's like in Europe and also in America. So we really hope that people, as much as we want everyone to advance themselves, their lives and everything, we really hope that they don't lose their happy, cheerful attitude. Like for example, the kids always notice when we come back to Germany, very many people are very moody tired, in a negative mood. Here, people seem to be very happy and cheerful, and they just enjoy life. So I hope with all the materialistic things and advancements here, this never changes. That hopefully people will never think what you look like or what car you drive is more important than being happy. I really hope that people here are still very thankful for everything they have and get. I think not as much as in the West anymore. So I hope this will stay the same, that people will always be cheerful and thankful and not forget about the important things.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. In fact, in China, the whole society admire the money. Also, maybe it's like the Europe, and we think European are not as much as China. We think we put so much care. We put so much attention on how to be rich, how to be upper class, how to drive a luxury car, how to wear the luxury watch, and in fact we think Europeans are more chill.
Oh, no, because we know a lot of people who have all this, who have a nice house, who have a big car, or maybe even several, who can go on vacation maybe even several times a year, but people are still not happy. And I think they are not dancing in the evenings or in the afternoon on the street, just having fun with their friends and neighbors, but they are sitting at home grumpy, so as much as we want everyone to have this big car or this nice apartment, please never lose this cheerful
cheerful
attitude.
Yeah. Which rumors about China in your country turn out to be false after you visit in China?
For example, there are some rumors that, for example, Chinese eat dogs and cats.
Yeah, eat dogs.
I've never seen it here. I've never seen a sign or hear anybody. So I can't agree with that one at all. What else?
Social credit.
Social credit, yeah. I think it's from what we heard that people here always have to be very, very careful because of social credit. But now we learned that it's actually a thing. The same. We have the same in Germany, where you have to be. Have a certain financial credibility, for example, to rent or to get a loan, something like that, and it's not as strict as it looks or like it's not as strict on as they tell you on social media maybe at all.
Okay.
That comes together with another rumor actually that they say because you have so many video cameras here in this area, so everyone is controlled all the time, you know. And that's one of the reasons why some of my colleagues are saying that they probably would not come to China because they wouldn't want to have this big brother watching them all the time. When we tell them, well, we actually feel quite safe because of that, they don't trust, you know, because they learn different from the media.
Because this storytelling is fit for the novel 1984. So it can bring some scary memories for European people. But yesterday I talked about this issue with my dad, because my dad is a policeman, and he told me that about 30 years ago the equipment of the policeman is very, very bad. They can't chase the criminal, and at that time, my dad told me that 30 years ago, somebody told us in Japan and in Europe there are so many cameras, and if some criminal happen, and the policeman can use the camera to find who did that. 30 years ago, my dad said, how advanced about the Western society. But now China has the cameras too. It can the efficiency of the policeman is very high now, and we see that so many Westerners criticize that, but my dad say, but you know, 30 years ago we admire this Western society because we heard that they have the technology, but when we have the technology, they say, you are the big brother, you are bad. So next question is, which rumors, which bad news about China you heard in your country, and you finally find it is true when you visiting China?
Okay, what is true? Well, I mentioned it earlier, the spitting here and there comes together with like, sometimes in Europe we joke about, well, when we sit together at a table, and especially when there are kids around and they start to burp and schmatzen.
Okay.
I can't think of the English word right now, you know, but very loudly eating, we joke about, well, we are not in China here. So I think that's one of the things that, one of the rumors that in Western society is often told that China, the eating culture is different, and I wouldn't agree with it totally, but sometimes here and there, you hear this burping and yeah.
我解释一下，就在他们德国有一种 and you know my wife is the local people in Chongqing, and I am from the suburbs, and when I eating with some son, my wife will say present. The guys from the suburbs, the guys from countryside, be quiet. My wife always criticizes me, and you know, my dad sometimes also like this, but my wife afraid to criticize my dad, and he would tell me, you told your father don't eat like this. How many cities you have traveled in China, and what's their names?
Okay, so we traveled to Shanghai. Beijing.
Shanghai, Beijing.
Zhangjiajie.
Chongqing.
Yeah.
4 cities, right?
4 cities so far, and while some villages here and there.
Villages. And among these 4 cities, which one do you like best?
Oh, that's hard to say, because I think every city has something
special.
No,
you have to choose one.
I have to choose. I think I prefer Beijing. Yeah, Beijing. It's not as westernized as Shanghai. It's still, even though it's modern, in some areas you still feel and see the culture everywhere. But I also like this young, laid-back vibe here in Chongqing. I feel, especially in the evenings when you walk around here, it feels very chill and lively, whereas Beijing is not as young, I would think.
Yeah.
So somewhere between Beijing and Chongqing.
Okay. So if you have to choose one, which one? Yeah.
Probably Beijing, because it feels like there's even more culture
Okay.
to explore.
If I posted this video on China's social media, these different cities, they will defeat it. Yeah. But it's a surprise. But from the Chinese opinion, from Chinese view, we guess maybe the Western tourist would choose Shanghai. Yeah.
I think my husband would choose Shanghai as well because of all the technology. But I come to China more personally, because I'm more interested in the history and the culture. And I think there is more in Beijing to experience than in Shanghai.
Okay. And what cities and what areas, what spot do you want to go? Yeah. If you have the chance to come back in the future.
Yeah. Well, we have one more city coming up. We are going to Chengdu.
Chengdu, yeah.
And then the next time, we already said Alpine. My husband, he wants to go to Shenzhen.
Shenzhen, yeah.
Because you said it's so advanced.
Yeah, it's a Silicon Valley of China. And in my opinion, I have been to Shenzhen many times. And Shenzhen is more capitalism than the West. It's a capitalism society.
Okay.
Everybody go to Shenzhen for money. For example, there is a saying in China's social media that we call it Shenzhen girls. But if girls gather together, have parties, they talk about the beauty. They talk about make themselves more beautiful, yeah. But in Shenzhen girls gather together, they are always talking about how to make money, talk about their client, talk about the price of the stock, how to make deals, how to make money. Yeah. Then they have desire for money.
Yeah.
And also the technology is very advanced, such as Huawei, DJI, and BYD, and Tencent, and many internet technology company based in Shenzhen. Yeah.
But I also want to go to Hong Kong.
Hong Kong, yeah.
Tibet.
Tibet, yeah.
I'm really interested in Tibet. And I can't even call out the names, but I know that there are also landscapes like desert areas.
Mongolia, Inner Mongolia. We call it Inner Mongolia.
Okay. Yeah. So see, I don't even know the names of any towns or cities or areas there, but I know that China has so much more to offer landscape-wise. So I want to see more.
今天我们跟那个 Andy 聊得很愉快。We have a good communication and happy time with Andy. And 这是我们的文旅访谈第3期，然后期待我们的下一期。拜拜，拜拜。Okay, go.
This is only the beginning of our China story in 2025. We believe China is a place the world can no longer afford to misunderstand. Make sure to tune in next Sunday when we'll dive deep into the unforgettable moments, the breathtaking places, and the incredible people we met along the way.
Wir sind seit heute in China.
Hit subscribe and join us next week again as we uncover hidden gems and share more stories from our journey through China.